Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, on my channel, I'm always telling you guys, live an active lifestyle, make smart nutritional choices, right? Move more and sit less. It's not about perfection, but about consistency. It's not about what you look like in the mirror, but about how you feel, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, fighting against the laziness. And I've told you guys on this channel, you have to stop sitting around, right? Sitting is the new smoking. You guys remember that from some years ago? And people are sitting themselves to an early grave. And I've talked about this on my channel. And I don't think people understand. Sitting is very, very bad for us as humans. And why is it bad for us? Because the body is meant to move. The human body was meant to move. Look at the way that we are built, ladies and gentlemen. Right? We got 2 arms. We got 2 legs. Right? We're meant to move. That's what the body is meant to do. That's why I tell you guys to get out there and get moving. The body's not meant to go to a gym per se or to do workouts per se, but the body is meant to move. So we should be moving as much as we can, as much as possible, and sitting as less as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Because in society, for a lot of us out there, we work behind a desk, right? We work office jobs where we're sitting all day, sometimes. I mean, think about your day. Maybe you work in an office. Maybe you have to commute to work. So you're driving in your car, sitting, and right, and I've talked about this before. Some people sit all day and they don't even realize it. You're sitting in your car driving to work. Then you get to work and you sit at work, right? Then you drive home, you're sitting some more in the car. Then you get home and you sit down on the couch. You watch some TV, you're relaxing now after a long day at work, right? You owe it to yourself to sit down and relax. But you've been sitting all day, so now you need to get up and get moving throughout the day. You have to find certain times where you can fit some movement in, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's hard for a lot of people out here. Like I said, you work an office job, you're sitting down behind a desk all day. I get that. I've told you guys, try to stand up every 15, 20 minutes, do some jumping jacks at your desk. I know it sounds crazy, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm telling you guys right now, this stuff will work and it'll make you feel better. You will feel better, right? You won't feel as lazy. You won't feel like you have no energy all the time. You just won't have that terrible feeling. Maybe do some burpees at your desk every 20 minutes. Get up and go for a walk around the office if you can every 20 minutes or so. Think about doing something like that. Is it just getting up and moving, breaking or getting up out of that chair? Think about standing more when you can. I told you guys this before, right? I work security, right? I don't have a crazy, intense physical labor or physically intense job where I'm, sweating all day and I'm using my muscles and I'm, doing all this crazy manual labor all day. But I've told you guys what? I have the chance or the opportunity, if I choose to sit down. I could sit all day if I wanted to, ladies and gentlemen. I could sit on my butt all day long. Or for a majority of the day, I can choose to sit. But what if I told you guys? I choose not to sit. So that doesn't mean that I don't sit all day, but I choose not to sit often. So I fight against sitting down. So to me, I won't sit down, right? Sitting down to me is like a break, right? So maybe I'll sit down for 5 minutes, right? That's my little break. Get off my feet for a second. But I try not to sit. I choose not to sit. Where other people, I'm sure that they sit all day or they sit a majority of their day. For most of my day, 90% of my day, guys, I'm on my feet, but I could not do that if I didn't want to. It's my choice. It's my decision to do this. That's why I say it's ultimately up to you if you're lazy or not. It's not anyone else's fault. It's not your genetics fault that you're lazy. It's nothing else, guys. It's just you choosing to be lazy. Remember, the human body is meant to move. So try to move as often as you can, right? If you're done with work, try to go do something. Go for a run, a walk. Go play basketball. Remember, playing sports, guys, is exercise. That is being active. You never have to step foot inside a gym, ladies and gentlemen, to be fit and healthy, to feel like you have a good sense of energy, overall well-being. You don't need to ever go to a gym. You have to pay for a gym membership, ever lift a damn weight. All you have to do is stay active, and that could mean a bunch of different things. Like I said, it could be going to the park with your kids. They could be going in the backyard and doing yard work. Maybe, cutting the grass or chopping up some firewood, raking up leaves. All of this stuff requires you to do what? To move your body. And that's what you should be thinking. So don't call people or hire people to cut your grass and, mow your lawn and take out your leaves and all this. Don't pay people to do this kind of stuff. You should be doing these things yourself. And it's not like, oh, I have the money, so let me pay people to do this. That's not the point. It's not about the money, ladies and gentlemen. It's about you being lazy. You paying someone to cut your grass and do all your work for you is you being lazy. So why don't you try to do some of this stuff? Get out there. Get moving. Right? Like I said, it could be anything. It could be going on a hike, going on a trail. I love running trails. Like I said, it could be anything, ladies and gentlemen. It's like rock climbing, right? You can go to one of those places. You know, you guys have probably seen those like Ninja Warrior type places where they have like walls that you can climb on and different obstacle courses. That's a good way to stay fit, get exercise, and have fun at the same time. You can also bring your kids and do this. There are many different ways, ladies and gentlemen, that you can stay fit, that you can stay active, that you can move more, that requires zero money, that requires any special skills, that requires you to actually lift weights and do an actual workout. You don't have to do none of this stuff. So remember, move more, sit less, ladies and gentlemen. The human body was meant to move, not to sit down, not to be lazy. Because remember, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it.